In this video, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to shuffle dance or cut shapes smoother and cleaner. Firstly, the best way to become smooth and clean as a shuffler is to take classes from someone who executes smooth and clean technique, but also understands how to break all of it down for you so you can apply smooth and clean technique in your own flow. Shuffle Shred is perfect for that. Make sure you check out shuffleshred.com for all information on our courses and online learning options. Let's jump right in. The first thing that I recommend you do to feel smoother and cleaner in your shuffle dance is what we're going to call muscle punctuation. Sometimes I call this muscle activation. There are so many different terms for this, but it's basically where you are utilizing your larger muscles in shuffle dance. So for example, if you're going into a running man, it's very easy to just kind of like go through the motions and, we're not really squeezing anything. We're just kind of like checking the box and going through it. Well, even in a smooth and fluid version of the running man, we still want to have muscle punctuation that helps us define clean lines and where one move stops and where the next move starts, or where one part of a move stops, for example, where our triangle stops and where our perch starts. So having these definitive moments. So muscle punctuation in your perch position would actually look like driving that knee up to the height of your choice, but really focusing on squeezing the core, squeezing the glute of the elevated leg, and really using the quad to drive that knee up while using your pelvis and your hips. Without muscle punctuation, it might just look like this, right? With muscle punctuation, we have a lot more clarity in that perch position. The second tip that I recommend to have smoother and cleaner technique in shuffle dance is to use your breath and use your breathing. I can't tell you how many shufflers are literally just holding their breath and hoping for the best. And I know that it is hard to remember to breathe, even though it just should be automated. But sometimes when we dance, we tend to hold our breath. But breathing, I'm gonna get deep with you for a second. Breath equals life, right? In order to live, we must breathe. So literally breathing life into your movements is what it's going to have and what it's going to need to have that power, to have that smoothness, and to have that control. So here's a few recommendations of what you can do. If you are doing a sequence or a move or a combo that feels really hard hitting in your shuffling, I recommend using your exhale through your mouth to power that movement. So let's say I was doing a series of, I'll do some running mans and maybe I'll even mix in some cutting shapes. I don't do a lot of cutting shapes. So I'll mix in something that like really requires a lot of energy to power through to the end. Without breathing or without focusing on my exhale, it's probably gonna feel like I'm running out of gas a little bit, right? Obviously, it's still gonna tire me out regardless, but I'm going to have, by using my breath, by using my exhale, more power. So what I could do is if I was starting with my running man, and I'll get to it in a second, I don't wanna talk and do it at the same time because I want to accentuate my breath. I'm gonna start in like a chill running man, focusing on my inhale because I know I'm about to go into a power running man followed by a really crispy cutting shapes combo where I'm gonna need that full exhale to push life into that movement. So here we go. This is what it's gonna look like, starting with an inhale. Exhale. Okay, that was so powerful. I literally discombobulated everything. So you can really see how my breathing actually poured energy into those movements and helped to sharpen them. If you're someone who simply just needs the reminder to breathe, you can inhale for your first count of 4, depending how fast you're dancing, of course. Exhale for a count of 4. You can inhale for 2, exhale for 2. It really depends on the speed of the song, but you can use your breath to power your dance and help to accentuate what you are doing. This is great for upper body work, but as you can see from what I did before, it is great for lower body and footwork as well. All right, speaking of full body, let's go to number 3, and that is to be more smooth and controlled in shuffling, you need to have full body awareness. A lot of times what's happening in your shuffle round that's making it not smooth or not controlled actually isn't your feet. Your feet are probably on lock, you know the steps, you know what you're doing, but it's everything that's happening above your legs and your feet. Maybe your hips and pelvis aren't activated quite as much as it could be. Maybe your chest is rounded over instead of feeling tall and proud and prominent, depending on what you're trying to create. Maybe your arms are, we got the famous dinosaur arms that I know a lot of shufflers talk about. Maybe they just feel really stiff. Maybe the shoulders are either stiff or they're kind of crunched in. So we want to have, and the head, of course, we can't forget the head. We want to have full body awareness from everything that's happening from legs up. So for example, when you are trying to be sharper in your running man, let's say you have, or let's use T-step. We used running man before. Let's say you want to have a little bit more cleanliness in your T-step, using your hips and your pelvis. Yes, my chest and my shoulders are moving with it because obviously everything's working together, but using all of those elements, we'll give an example of everything, to accentuate the movement and have a full body dance, right? Where I'm expanding and contracting. I'm rocking my back backwards and then coming in to center, right? And it doesn't matter where I'm T-stepping, this completes the move, right? Rather than feeling like I'm really stiff and awkward or feeling like I'm just my arms are flailing. And I know it's easier said than done. Don't worry. There are videos of me where my arms literally look like overcooked spaghetti noodles. So I understand, but I also know based on that it can get better with practice. So making sure that you're focusing on what the rest of your body is doing. Maybe for your next practice, just pick one body part above the legs and decide that you are going to focus more on that. Maybe it's just simply keeping your arms more relaxed at your sides, right? That's a great start if you're someone whose arms tend to come up here or they feel really tense or awkward, or if the fingers are tensing up. It's really helpful to just place that focus on the arms, keeping them more at the sides, and you can start there. For someone who's already doing upper body movements or using other elements of the body, now is the time to actually sharpen it up. So if you're going to engage the arm, let's say you use like a flow arm frequently, but you're not really completing the movement, right? This is where we want to use full muscle control in our movements, right down to our fingers, even, yes, while we're shuffling. So these movements look whole and complete rather than like I'm doing them, but I'm not really doing them. You know what I mean? All right, I hope that this was helpful in helping you become more smooth and more clean as a shuffle dancer. I'm certain that if you apply these 3 tips, it is going to be so helpful. Of course, don't forget to subscribe to Shuffle Shred, share these videos, because all tips that I'm giving here are gonna help you become more smooth and clean. But if you really wanna work on being smoother and being cleaner, shuffleshred.com is where all of the online education that Shuffle Shred has to offer lives. This is where you're gonna find courses that are for total beginners, people who are above that beginner level, kind of in between beginner and intermediate, and then intermediate dancers looking to advance not only in their foundations, but also upper body, freestyling, combos, choreography, and being creative and unique as your own shuffle dancer. I'll drop information in the description. Go check out shuffleshred.com. It'll be so awesome to have you in any of these programs, and I will see you in the next video.